like talking those things out. Men generally do better at coping with those things, not through sitting down. Actually, it's shown that if men try to just sit down, talk to a therapist, and deal with those things like women do, it doesn't show nearly as much effect as if they would just like stand around a lawnmower and fix it together. Because naturally, as you're fixing
it's like
things,
self-reflection.
You start to bring things up, like as guys do stuff together, as you're like doing something, fulfilling an activity, those things might come up. The actual act of doing this manual labor or accomplishing a task is therapeutic for men. Without even discussing the topic, you can heal all of those things.
Women do that too, though. You know, I'll go have a run in the morning and I'll feel way better than I would have if I didn't.
Well,
but you know,
exercises,
I've also known
that's good. But like I'm just saying, in general, that's how men will heal through things, and in general, that's how women will heal through things. So when people come out and say they do not know how to cope, or they do not know how to heal, maybe they just don't heal the way you do.
Can I ask about the female coping mechanism versus the male coping mechanism? When you say healthy, men don't deal with these things in a healthy way. Can I give you an example of a way that I cope, for instance, if I'm upset?
Yeah.
And this is true, and then you can tell me if you think it's healthy or unhealthy. So what I generally do is I load up a 22 Magnum and I go up on my top deck and I turn on the night vision and I wait for the rabbits to come out at night, and then I blow their faces off. And I think it's hilarious. Right? I mean, I just gun them down mercilessly, and it doesn't bother me a bit, and I feel a lot better. Is that unhealthy?
Do you feed the rabbits to the dogs?
I mean, yeah.
Do you feed
the rabbits? No, I don't feed them to anything. I just let them rot. I don't give a shit about them. They're pests, and they annoy me.
They feed the earth.
Down for fun. Is that unhealthy?
There's been plenty of times where I don't know, when I was way younger, that I felt like punching a hole in a door felt amazing after, or fighting somebody at school felt great. Like that was a great way to get my anger out, but obviously in society that's not the right way to get it out.
Well,
but
he's not necessarily talking about getting like expelling anger from his body.
But that's a physical.
No.
That's a physical.
It's just like
I'm just saying
like
that
stressful
sometimes if
that's just the equivalent
working
for
through
me
a problem
personally.
or I'm having some kind of issue or something like this, I like to just murder the local wildlife because I just kind of find it mildly amusing, and I don't like the little bastards being in my yard because it's mine. Is that healthy or unhealthy?
I want to start off by saying that I'm glad that helps you, and I'm glad that you have a technique that you feel can help you emotionally process things. I'm going to be very vague in answering this because I am very tired. I feel like everyone's definition of healthy, what's healthy for me is going to look different from someone else, just in terms of like mental health. And if that's what you find healthy for yourself, sure, I find that healthy then, and I'm glad that you have that as a technique to process your emotions.
I think as long as you're not hurting other people around you.
Do I think that it would be great if it was a technique that didn't cause you to inflict pain onto another living thing? Sure.
Yeah, but that's the best part. The funnest part of it is the blasting and watching their little bodies explode.
That's when you go to
that's
that
the fun
session.
part.
Have you been to therapy?
I mean, what is that unhealthy?
I mean, I don't
If you
know.
kill
You need to ask
something,
your
just
therapist
eat
that.
How
like that
often
little
are you
that little
doing
round
this?
just zips in, it just slices them right in half, just like that, and I'm like, yeah, take that, you little bastard. Is that me being like unhealthy, or is that the proper masculine way in which to process my emotions? Just if I was looking at you for
if
your
that's keeping you from hurting other, I don't know, I guess that's
I agree
fine,
with
but
you in a
I
relative
still
sense,
would like.
Is it ideal? No. I'm glad it works for you.
Yeah, I don't think like
how come it's not
therapy harms
ideal?
men, though. I've seen a lot.
I feel like it's a great service that I do for the community. I keep the the pests under control, and at the same time I'm able to satiate my feelings at the same time. It seems like it's a win-win.
Yeah.
It is. That is good. But I don't think there's many other people that have that.
Oh no!
Ask the men in the
My
chat.
buddies come over
If you wanna
sometimes.
shoot
We
something,
stay
go
up
shoot
late.
something.
It's 2:00 in the morning. We're drinking beer. We're just cutting those little bastards in half. like it's going out of style, and it's hilarious and it's fun. Are they processing their emotions properly too?
But you can't deny that like there are significant like improvements in like a mental health of a man that has gone through crazy type of trauma, and they talk about it. That I've known personally, at least 5, that after getting a therapist and just releasing that in a short amount of time, they didn't even need to continuously see a professional for that. That already solved a bunch of their problems.
I would argue that I do agree that there is some genetic component, like how you were saying earlier. I do acknowledge that. There have been studies done, like that's totally, like I agree with you on that. But I also do think that due to the notion that men are taught that they don't see the same amount of people in therapy. Like when you picture a therapist office, who do you picture sitting on the couch next to the therapist? You picture a woman, right? We've all been conditioned societally to think that women are the ones who go to therapy, men don't go as often, because it's the truth. It's what society reflects. If you were to grow up in an environment where you saw your father going to therapy, you saw male role models going to therapy and speaking openly about it, there's a greater chance that you might take to therapy more.
Therapy's
I want to let you know, here's the kind of traditional male therapy that I'm used to, and I think it's far superior because there seems to be far less mental illness in men, and we know that by the numbers because we can see the amount of antidepressants and we can see the amount of antipsychotic drugs that women are on versus men. Go ahead.
Do you think that's because men aren't going to these doctor's appointments, so they're not even getting diagnosed and prescribed in the first place?
But you would see this act out in other ways in society. Then
the highest population of antidepressant abusers is women.
Isn't the highest?
No,
men?
mental illness is higher in women than it is in men. There's no doubt that that's true. But you know how I see men generally deal with their problems rather than go and sit on a couch and talk to some chick about their feelings? What they do is they get on a game called Red Dead Redemption 2. And they find prostitutes and they tie them up in the game and they put them on the back of a horse and they go down to the railroad track and then they throw them on the railroad track and then they wait there with a 6-shooter till the train comes. And then it blasts them and cuts them in half and then they shoot at the body parts in the game.
Honestly,
I see them do it, and you know what? They seem to be having a blast. So I was like, you know what?
Honestly,
I'm going to try that shit. And it was a lot of fun. Is that a healthy way to deal with their issues?
I feel like everything you said was TOS.
Yeah, definitely. If that's what works
That's
for them,
not
that's
TOS,
beautiful.
it's a
You
video
know,
It was a
game.
little
Video game.
graphic, I think, for YouTube.
why put all of that energy into something like that when you can just
Because it's fun.
talk and get it out?
It's fun. As a gamer,
Yeah,
I
it's
can
fun.
tell you
No,
some of the
it's
best
for them
fun.
to get it out in a
Of course
game.
the best
in
therapy
person.
sessions I've ever had
course
have
it's
been
fun.
with the boys playing
Is it
Call of Duty,
Right.
doing the most obscene stuff.
But is this because like people tell you like even me for instance, I thought like crying, people seeing me cry was weak.
Yeah.
And I had to figure that out. But that kind of goes for like men, like they think those kind of behaviors are weak, or they were told that at some point in their lives.
I think
that has something to do with it. I don't know.
Here's the thing, though, is that we don't want to talk about our problems. We want to solve them.
Okay, go solve them, but you don't need to
talk
solve
about
them
them
by
necessarily.
suppressing all that.
But why? Okay, so you're in therapy because I feel bad about X. I feel bad about my life
I don't know
circumstances.
why
I feel bad about something that happened.
You go to find out why you react to things in the way you react.
I don't know
to
about you, Mason. If I like actually start meditating and thinking about my problems or talking about my problems,
become
I
a
feel
lot bigger.
I feel bad. Like it makes me feel bad.
That's a bad sign.
It doesn't make me like. It doesn't help the problem.
No.
I don't.
That's not a good sign. That's the first.
Well, no, it's 'cause that's how
That's the
that's
first
how
step into
men's-
problem solving.
Well, no. Men see things as
knowing
like,
what
okay,
your problem
problem
is.
solution. If there's a problem in my life, I need to find a solution.
Yeah.
It's
There's
'cause we're
always
wired
a
that
solution, though. There's always a solution, regardless. But
So
the first
instead-
step to getting
well-
to a solution is
way. Well,
knowing
okay,
the
I'm
problem.
just gonna let you inside the mind of men right now.
That's
So
fine.
when we
Please.
see a problem, it does nothing for us to ruminate and just stew on the problem itself and think about why is it a problem, why is it affecting my psyche, why does it make me feel this way. We don't think like
So you're
that. We
saying
think
short term.
okay, there's the problem. let me solve this problem, eliminate it, and then I don't have to deal with it anymore. It's gone. It's out of my mind.
That's the problem. They think
No, because
forever.
No,
well, you're coming at me as a woman saying this because your mind works differently.
You sit there, you say, well, that shit happened, and then you move on.
Well, it's because as men, like, we can just expel it from our minds. We can totally recover from things by just solving the issue.
The longer you talk about something, the more you're just going to drag it up, and then you're just going to have to deal with it over and over and over again. Just say, okay, that happened, and then move on.
Misconception.
Have you ever had the experience of you go to like a guy, maybe you're dating him,
right?
And you like tell him a problem,
right?
And he's like, okay, well, you can do X, Y, Z, and here's how you can resolve it.
Yeah.
Or here's what you can do.
Okay.
And you're like, well, I don't really want that. I just want you to listen. That's the that's the difference between men and women.
Yeah, that's not
like
that's not
if
true
a girl
at all,
comes to me if a girl comes to me with a problem, I'm going to be like, okay, how can I fix this?
Yeah.
But y'all are like, no, I don't want a solution. Just listen to me
y'all
vent.
Thing is the whole y'all thing you guys don't like that we do.
But I don't want to vent. Like, as a guy, I don't want to vent to anybody.
Then don't.
Really.
Shit.
That's up to you. That's subjective. Yeah. And that's totally valid. I'm not saying that's not valid.
If
but
that really helps.
I have a clarifying question for you specifically.
Okay, yeah.
When you're saying that the way that men are wired and their brains work this way,
yeah,
I agree that that's the majority of men. But do you think that's how all men are wired?
Or should be?
Naturally, yeah. I mean, naturally, yes.
Naturally, yes. Okay.
Yeah.
And is that okay?
Sometimes there are problems that are too large for a man to accomplish by himself, so he has to bring in other people. But at the end of the day, all he's trying to do is just solve the problem instead of talk about the intricacies of the problem. Like, if he has to talk about the intricacies of the problem to solve it, he'll do that. Mm-hmm. But for the sake of talking about the problem, he'll never do that.
But only when it's necessary, you're saying?
Exactly.
Okay, I understand that.
Okay.
I will say, too, though, going back to your point about how when you'll vent to like a boyfriend or whatever, I have had partners in the past where I'll vent to them and they don't immediately hand me solutions, and their natural instinct is just be like, I'm so sorry, that sucks.
Yeah, sure.
Like,
well, I think
I'm so sorry that happened.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think that.
Well, it's because they've been taught, like, sorry, I didn't want to cut you off.
No, it's okay.
But generally speaking, the first relationships I ever got into, my initial reaction was solve the problem. But it's been taught to me that women don't think exactly like I do. So I've had to learn that when a woman comes to me with a problem, I have to decipher or ask them, do you want a solution or you just want me to listen?
I mean,
generally speaking, I'll typically just listen. But with a guy, one of my bros comes to me with a problem, I know I can just give him a solution, and that's kind of what he's looking for.
No, and I think that's a good skill that you have, that you can differentiate in between those two.
Yeah, and I think it comes with learning. So
yeah, of course. Yeah. But I will say that I have friends who are male where their instinct is not to just solve it, it's to comfort me first. And that's their natural instinct. So I agree with you that that's the majority of men. Yeah. I do not think that is all of them, though. Well, I think that you're
I think maybe
using a lot of blanket terms
and
here.
It's not necessarily
well, maybe you haven't been with them through their whole life. Maybe there have been points in their life.
Childhood friends. And
from birth, you've been with them? Because at all points in life.
Like elementary school.
I'm just saying, like,
we all want to solve the problem.
That's not the issue here.
Can I ask a question along this vein?
Okay.
For those of you who are big, heavy believers in therapy, have you ever actually known a single woman who's gone to therapy and been cured of the problem she was going to therapy for?
Cured? Hell no.
I don't think there is a cure.
Just off of talking to one person. No, don't get cured like that. It's not the way it sounds either.
I think that when you go to therapy, you learn how to deal with problems that life throw you. I don't think you get cured.
It's longer lasting.
You learn how to address things in the future when they crop up in your life. I've gone to therapy, and at this point now, would I say I'm cured? No, I'm a human. I experience stress within my daily life, but after going to therapy, I know how to manage stress better, and it worked for me, and that's fine.
Wouldn't that be a cure?
A cure?
No, because you don't I don't know.
Like you no longer have to go to therapy.
Maybe you cured that.
No, I still go occasionally. Right? I just don't go as often.
Maybe you cured that problem at that time that you had, but people don't stop going through experiences
if the goal of therapy is to gather all of these tools so you can appropriately deal with issues in the future, you should be able to provide somebody with those tools and then not have to continue providing new tools to them.
But do you have the same like problems or fears that you did when you were 5 than now?
No, because I deal with them in a very different
experiences.